Good day, whenever you are. I do apologise for the lack of content in the last month or so. I have made a previous video, but unfortunately, timing wasn't very good because the washing machine was on, and unfortunately, the washing machine is very well picked up on the microphone of this device. The microphone is very good, but if a washing machine is dominating said video, then it's a bit of a disaster, really. But I will remake that video with the sort of due quietness, or so you can't pick up any other things going on in the background which distract from the narrative. I do apologise for lack of content in the last month or so. Work and life have unfortunately got in the way, so I'm going to have to start adapting to make time to make some more content. These days I have just acquired a new laptop. I just need to get the software on there to start making thumbnails and editing videos, and these will start filtering through. It's just having a couple of days free to adapt to having these tools at my disposal. I've also had to get a new memory card, as my old smaller memory card is completely filled up, so I've got a memory card that's 4 times the size, so hopefully that will make some better long form videos which will come in time. I was hoping to do an interview, however that entire weekend spent with my good dear friend, it didn't manage to materialise. I do apologise for that, but we'll try to arrange some times and dates to actually get these things sorted, as it's nice to have a bigger narrative of the time period from which I came from. Even though I'm in the current time period, the 1990s in the UK were so much happened, so much. You had, for example, technologically, we went from videos to DVDs in 1 decade. DVDs were, I managed to get one in 1999, so the turn of the millennium, and that was probably the best DVD player I've ever had. It still would be working today. It was so reliable. I mean, this is when DVD players were huge. I mean, they were massive devices, probably about a little bit smaller than a video player, but roughly the same size. But albeit a bit smaller. I mean, today DVD players are tiny now. They're very, very small, compact. Whereas back then, in the infancy of its technology, it was amazing. The only downfall were scratching the CDs, and then made the CDs unplayable. But saying that, with videotape being magnetic and everything, if you got a magnet along to it, that would obviously wipe it, but also at the same time, you would, if the tape came unspooled in the video player, that's good, mostly game over for said video. So picture quality was better, but it wasn't so much about the picture quality, it was about how it was recorded. For example, why Babylon 5 DVDs came from tapes, and they were never cleaned up or tidied up, so some of the quality on some of the episodes is awful. I hope when I do get the Blu-ray edition, which is coming out in a few months' time, that I can enjoy it a bit more and save some space on my storage, as I would assume that Blu-ray wise you would probably use less Blu-rays than DVDs. I mean, on average per series of DVD it was 6 discs, whereas in video it was 11. It was something else. It really was. I do apologise. So, politically, everything in the 90s changed. I will try and stray away from politics because it's still, unfortunately, a legacy of those times still affects this country today. And some things have not worked out so well. Hence the reason why this country has gone down on the Freedom Index, which is something that I'll talk about in another video. But focusing on the positive things of the 90s, you had the beginnings of the internet. There's nothing like it is today. You didn't have Amazon, I think, was in its infancy at that time, so it was quite a novel thing. I do seem to remember it being majorly about books competing with the likes of some of the book companies in this country, and also most of the stuff, they didn't have an Amazon marketplace back then. Amazon just sold all the stuff they had, but it was all through them. There were no third party sellers like you get today. All the different things they sold, I mean, since that time they've got huge warehouses that I happen to be not that far away from one, all being probably about 17, 18 miles away, but that's still not that far really. And other things as well. If you wanted to watch a video online, the streaming speed was so slow you couldn't do it. You had to have a pre-recorded video on something called a video CD, which only Philips, I believe, and somebody else, Panasonic came out with 2 devices for video CDs, but the problem is they jumped the gun. It was too soon, and the quality and content was very limited, and there wasn't that much you could do with it. However, DVD blew it all away, because DVD was cheaper to produce, and you could have full-length movies on them. The first DVDs, if the movie was over a certain length, you'd have to turn the DVD over. This is before you got things like layers on a DVD, so you can't see the layers, but on a DVD you can attribute X amount of layers, and then that'll be on one side, and everything will be one-sided DVDs. So that's something that came a bit later. Music changed fundamentally. It's with the event of computers and all those sort of things changed massively. It was a unique time to live. The apartheid in South Africa came to an end. That had quite a cultural impact in this country, as there are quite a few South Africans in this country. I'd like to speak to one at some point to get their viewpoint of maybe what happened. I did used to know one. Unfortunately, is particularly jaded about his experiences in South Africa. So it would be nicer to get somebody that was a bit more with what it's like now. But focusing on that particular event, it was sort of seen as a massive cultural event. A sort of dealing with the Iron Curtain having come down, bearing in mind the Iron Curtain had been up for 30 to 40 odd years, and sort of allowed to begin to explore Eastern European countries, which we were not allowed to explore before. And some of them are immensely beautiful places to visit. I only visited Bulgaria about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was lovely. It was really nice. It was bearing in mind I only visited the capital city, but this capital city is very nice, and I would recommend Sofia to anybody that would like to pay it a small visit. I think a week is a bit too long, but 3 to 4 days and get a good experience of Sofia. Moving on, because as I said in that video about tangents, many different things were happening in the 90s. We were going from FM AM radio to digital radio. Digital television was starting to come in, so for things like in our country they've got something called Channel 5 and E4. The big problem with Channel 5 being near the coast is it was very difficult to get in those days. Easy now, but not so easy. Well, it's very easy now because you've got set-top boxes and streaming and all that kind of stuff. The same thing with E4. Before Channel 4 just combined everything into one thing, you had E4, which was the things like, for example, the first series, I believe, although I could be wrong, of Big Brother, which was seen as a social experiment at the time. Many people from the first series made a name for themselves and succeeded, I suppose, where others had not. Television in this country is something in its own thing altogether. A lot of the television that was made then would not be allowed to be made today. It was a very strange time, the turn of the millennium, but there's so many different things that happened in the 90s. I remember the Olympics in Barcelona in 1992. That was something else. It really was. As I've said before, the roadmap is continuing on, and I think with the change of everything in your lives and in all our lives really, it's just to sort of focus on everything that's positive. People that listen to you are the best people, and people that interact with you in a positive way are the best people to be around. Don't surround yourself with people that are not necessarily so good. I do once again apologise for my absence. I would like to get back to a regular schedule. This is almost an apology video really, and some musings about the 90s, but it's not necessarily writer's block, but it's just things like work and stuff. When you've done a 10-hour shift, all you really want to do is go home, sleep, and then be back in for work the next day. So I do really apologise about the lack of activity on the channel. The channel is not dead. I would like to continue it. Please like and subscribe, as there will be some good changes over the next few months. This is 4046 out, and thank you